respected Lottie Saab, Chairman TRAI, Arun and Sharat, and all my friends, colleagues. I think grateful to Arun to actually touch upon 2 or 3 very relevant points. I'll try and dwell in next 10, 12 minutes and talk to you about that. But the big theme is really clear that we are now in for a big change as far as time is concerned. New times. The technology shock has started. The tectonic plates across the globe on technology are shifting so rapidly that it is extremely difficult for us to, in fact, anchor on any one of them and say, okay, this is the way to go and this is how we need to go. In fact, the fundamental laws which were governing the technology explosion hitherto, we're talking about Moore's law, doubling processing every year, talking about Gilder's law, halving the storage and cost of storage by 1 by 2 every year, or bandwidth in the universe, Ryder's law, doubling every year. Those laws are breaking now. We are now going faster than what anybody ever predicted about the growth and speed of growth and the gradient of technology. In fact, I call this holy trinity of communication, and that is coming together like nobody's business. It is not only about hyperconnectivity, 5G we're speaking about, and we'll see how 5G has fundamentally changed the paradigm of connectivity. We're talking about GBPS in the pocket now, but in addition to hyperconnectivity, two other things which are actually adding to this holy trinity is hyper compute and hyper storage, which means the ability to create an island of intelligence, ability to distribute that island of intelligence, the ability to process on the edge, the ability to store on the edge any part of the planet. Pager is a morbid example, but so true again. But imagine the amount of compute, miniaturization, cost, connectivity, which has led to, and it is just at the cusp. In fact, I used to talk about comparison with Apollo mission with our phones, which we carry. In fact, I have not updated it after Tim Cook announced 16. But even at 15, we are a billion times more, billion times more capable from all the 3 vectors, compute, the storage, and the connectivity, what all of NASA had when they sent a man on the moon and got him back. And unfortunately, I have 2 of those phones, so 2 phones means 2 billion NASAs in our pocket. And we use them to either play Candy Crush or text each other or see Instagram Reels or whatever they call them. But that's the amount of democratization of technology. That is the amount of the depth and pervasiveness of technology. And this is the fundamental shock which is hitting us. And we are going to get opened into a world which will fundamentally change. In fact, I was looking at some TED Talks a week back, and almost exactly 100 years back, there were 3 fundamental paradigms that were driving the technology change: the telephone, the electricity, and the automobile. Telephone for connectivity, electricity, of course, and automobile as means of communication. In fact, those 3 now have converged together. So you have a connected car with electricity storage onto it. And that's the way we are now moving. And then you add compute and connectivity on top of it, and ability for the car itself to decide. That's the fundamental paradigm that is changing. In fact, I see this as 3 stages of digital, and this is important because this is going to unleash the view on which the next few years or next decade is going to be built on. If you look at the turn of the century, 90s to 2010, those 15, 20, 30 years when digital was just introduced, got old friends, not friends who are old, but friends who've been with me for a while. We all remember how digital switches came in. We all remember how digital technology zoomed in India, specifically in early 90s. But that was a very tight coupled integration of digital and infrastructure. I don't know, I mean, if I say X25, how many people can raise their hand and say, yes, it rings a bell? Classical example of how you build a protocol and embed that protocol into the connector itself. It was amalgamation of hardware owning the digital. In fact, Ericsson's and Nokia's and Cisco's and Huawei's of the world, the whole gamut at that point of time is to build digital as much as possible. And that was the time when the infrastructure, when the NEPs, when the networks evolved big time. Come 2010, one shift happened when software became on top of everything. The hardware, the infrastructure became commoditized. Networks became programmable, clouds came, liquid networks came. So the relevance of hardware, since it was taken for granted, it actually became a pedestal on which software ruled. And that is the era we are in right now, where we are talking about software-defined networks, we're talking about programmable networks, we're talking about capability which can be on-the-fly change just because of, so that's the whole era of software and programmability. I believe we are just going to pass it. And that was the age of hyperscalers. We see Amazons of the world and Metas of the world and Googles of the world thrive because of their capability of understanding this software and running on top of hardware. That was phase two, stage two. Now, so if you look at what is happening next, this is stage two, which is software-led. Now what is happening is the intelligence is now running over, because now you have everything. Now you have immense unlimited compute, immense unlimited connectivity, immense unlimited storage. Hardware is irrelevant, even software is irrelevant. Software was relevant when software was precious. Software was relevant when software was niche. Now software is democratized the way infrastructure is democratized. 30 years back, infrastructure was niche. Creating a site was a big deal. Laying a fiber was a big deal, so that was niche. Now that became all pervasive. Software became all pervasive. Now data and that hyper compute we have, it's like a supercomputer in every chip which is hungry to process more and more and more and more. So what happens? It becomes intelligent. That's the age of, I don't want to use words AI and ML beyond a lot of time, but the relevance of that we need to understand is, since we have so much of compute, since we have so much of connectivity, since we have so much of storage, that compute will run. If it will run, it will churn data. If it will churn data, it will churn insights. If it will churn insights, it will become a recommendation engine. It will start recommending things. It will start helping you and me. And that is the time where we are today. So here's this, since I'm taking a Star Trek analogy here on all the three phases of digital, it actually logically ends into may the source be with you from may the force be with you. And that source is the source, that the compute and storage and connectivity together going forward. How does these then finally play out on what we need to do? And again, I will anchor on what Arun said most importantly, because if these three come together, hyper connectivity, hyper storage, and hyper compute, the writing is clearly on the wall. Intelligence is going to be the next big driver, rural and consumer of digital. And that will drive industries that will talk about 4.0, we'll talk about citizen governance, we'll talk about education, health, and cross industries, we'll talk about consumer, but underlay play. We'll talk about robotics, we'll talk about genomics, whichever way you, just at Jio, and I'll talk about it in a minute, just at Jio, we on a daily basis consume almost 500 billion event records. Now 5 years back, if somebody would have told anybody in the room saying that I'm going to generate 500 billion records on a daily basis, will you be able to process it? Impossible. Read it, impossible. Store it, impossible. Forget decision making and recommendation engine. That's the exponential growth which is hitting us. And then there are three pillars again, and again analogous to the three stages. Underlay infrastructure and connectivity is a given. We need to reach every nook and corner. We need to reach all parts of the edges, all parts of the premise, all parts of the compute where the requirement is. And then the second one, which is we are already doing, is around data and software. Getting that data, driving it by software. But where it is now finally coming through is if you use these two pillars and then put in the ability to learn and the domain expertise, not telecom, but automobile for automobile, health for health, education for education, security for security, then the amount of rise in productivity, amount of rise in understanding, amount of change which you can unleash on a positive manner. It is, and I like this quote, so I put it here, saying that it is so many of us, and at so many times we talk about getting overpowered by technology, because again, my first statement, the tectonic plates are shifting. But if you understand that, if you structure your thoughts, and then if you get empowered by the same technology bandwagon, I think, I mean, linear is gone, exponential is gone, sky is the only way, only limit where you can do. And in some small way, we have been able to kind of do it. In fact, again, Arun spoke about creating the own stack. Jio today runs 100% of its 120 plus million customers on its own, totally owned, totally native, totally internally designed stack. Not one 5G call or one 5G data session is right now anchored, harbored, or curated on anything which we have not built. It is difficult. It is doable. In fact, I mean, again, taking that example, Bell Labs is passe. The way we look at what we are doing here at Jio Labs with full 5G stack, we are trying to inculcate that capability. In fact, design in India, create in India, make in India, and deliver in India, I think, I mean, there's no better paradigm to display rather than this. And using this and using the power of data, I am showcasing what we call as a digital twin on the other side of the screen. Our 5G plan, our 5G understanding, our 5G experience management, full 9 yards of the customer life cycle right now is being run on a digital twin. So conceptually, it is nothing new. You need to know where you need to put a new site. You need to know what kind of bandwidth you provision. You need to know what kind of experience customers are getting so that you can enhance. But if you're talking about 500 million customers in total and 500 billion events giving you this, the only hope in hell to drive this is to put it in a machine, train the machine properly, and let the machine design, recommend, and play it back saying that this is what we need to do. And I think one of the biggest advantages of doing this, which we will be able to do, is not only that we are able to deliver ahead of the curve, not only we were able to embrace the technology faster than anybody else, the accuracy and the efficacy of this deployment. India is a very, very data-hungry market. Indian customers are, and now most of us travel across the globe, we have experiences and insights on how it feels when you take a phone outside of India. And I mean, the way we look at it, we are inferior than absolutely nobody, be it Far East, Koreas or Japans of the world, or West, US or any other country. I'm not even talking about Europe. I mean, they have a very different set of problems. Don't think telecom is on top of them right now, but we are definitely ahead. In fact, one thing using that is what we were able to achieve. This is an old chart, but I want to again anchor a bigger thought into this. In 12 months flat, because of this digital twin, digital design concept, we were able to light up 1 million 5G cells, up and running, covering nearly 90%. In 4G, we cover 99.2% of Indian population. In first year of our 5G launch, we were able to cover nearly 90% of Indian population. But the important part is if you look at the customer experience, blended customer experience. By October of 2023, an average 17, 18, 20 Mbps blended, because that was a loaded 4G network, straight away went to 200, 250, and this is blended number. If you look at 5G, it goes much beyond 355, 400 Mbps. But this is, the lagging indicator of this is what happened in April this year. We now, as Jio, are world's largest operator as far as data is. Last 2 quarters running, April, May, June quarter, and July, August, September quarter, we are the largest operator in the world now. Almost 10% of every bit and byte consumed on the planet is consumed on our network, and it is consumed on the core network or the stack which we have built on our own. So this all comes together if the alignment is right, if you drive the technology in the right manner and consume this. In fact, 40 crore GBs is what we do on a daily basis. Our almost 500 million customer. The world does close to 400 crore GBs on a daily basis. And this would not have happened unless we would, if we would not have been able to unleash the whole 5G step up in getting where we want to go going forward. So the big picture is very clear, that there are disparate moving parts and there are disparate set of understandings now going forward. Infrastructure is there, power is there, software and hardware are different. In fact, green security, and I could have rattled out at least 10, 20, 30 more very disparate attributes which need to come together. But once they come together, your level of productivity, your contribution to the digital economy goes to a totally, totally different level. In fact, most of our productivity indices, and we have shown this to world n number of times. Telecom is one example. Uh, uh, Digital money is another example. The digital payment, the way we have been able to harness UPI, the way now we are harnessing digital on media, the way we consume our entertainment, the way we consume our TVs, our broadband. So I think it is only up to us. The limit ends with us. Because, like I said, with this technology shock, the raw material, the resources are infinite and the resources are available. How do we need to make use of them? How we need to channel them to the right experience, to the right level? And how do we control them from an ownership perspective? The source be with you quote is no joke. Because if the source is with you, the amount of sad news and bad news we are looking at, we will be much more kind of capable and comfortable saying, no, this can't happen, because we know what we are doing. Every bit, every chip, every part, every battery is designed by us. We know where it is going and how it is going. And that will take us to the next level. In fact, my last slide, Lincoln said the best way to predict the future is to create it. And I think we are almost there. Thank you so much.